Your lowest point is the doorway to your highest self, a Soul Shed story. Welcome to the Soul Shed, where simple stories reveal deep spiritual truths. I am Eden Lin, light-bearer of the Soul Shed, keeper of stories, watcher of the inner flame, guide for lost souls. I want to tell you a story, but more than that, I want to tell you a truth. Not the kind of truth you pick up from a self-help book or a fleeting quote on social media, but the kind of truth that is carved into the very marrow of your bones, the kind that you only discover when the ground has been ripped out from under your feet. And it begins like this. Your lowest point is not the end of you. Your lowest point is the doorway to your highest self. I didn't always know that. In fact, when I found myself at the bottom, I thought it was proof that life had finally decided I wasn't worth much. I thought falling meant I had failed for good. But it was in the dust and the darkness, in the tears I couldn't hold back, and the silence that stretched on forever, that something sacred began to stir. At my lowest point, the world felt like it had collapsed into a narrow, airless tunnel. There were no lights, no easy exits, no friendly faces guiding me forward. Only walls that pressed in tighter each day. I remember lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, asking questions that seemed to bounce back without answers. Why me? Why now? What's the point of going on? The loneliness was sharp, and the despair was heavier than stone. But here's the strange thing about despair. If you sit with it long enough, if you don't run from it, if you let yourself feel the weight of it, something begins to shift. You discover that even in the deepest pit, a whisper of hope still flickers. Sometimes it comes in the memory of a smile, a song that drifts in from a neighbor's window, or the way the morning light sneaks through the blinds. Sometimes it comes in the simple fact that you are still breathing, even when you thought you couldn't bear another breath. That whisper is the seed of transformation. It took me time to see that my lowest point wasn't a dead end, but a doorway. And doorways are not places where you stay. They are passages you walk through. That realization came slowly, like dawn creeping across the horizon. I remember one morning in particular. I had cried myself into exhaustion the night before. When I opened my eyes, everything inside me felt broken. But instead of turning away, I just lay there in the silence. And in that silence, I felt something stir, like a hand brushing against my soul. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it was steady, and it said, "This is not where your story ends." It was God or grace, or the voice of my own soul, maybe all three, but I knew it was real. I knew that if I could find the courage to rise, even shakily, even uncertainly, something greater awaited me. That was the first glimpse of the doorway. Walking through it didn't mean my problems vanished. It didn't mean I suddenly had all the answers. What it meant was that I no longer saw the pit as a grave. I saw it as a place of rebirth. The lowest point had stripped away everything that wasn't essential. It had burned through the illusions, the masks, the false securities. What remained was raw, fragile, but utterly true. And from that truth, I began to build. At first, building meant taking one small step, getting out of bed, making a meal, writing a single line in a journal, whispering a prayer when I couldn't find words. It didn't look like progress to anyone else, but to me, it was survival. And survival became the foundation of strength. Day by day, I discovered that the doorway was wider than I thought. Every time I chose not to give up, every time I faced the darkness, instead of running from it. The doorway opened further. On the other side wasn't some magical, perfect version of life. On the other side was growth. And growth is messy, uncomfortable, and sacred all at once. I started to notice how pain has a way of softening us. It makes us gentler, more compassionate. It teaches us to listen more deeply, to hold others with tenderness, because we know what it feels like to be shattered. And in that way, my lowest point didn't just transform me. It gave me eyes to see the world differently. The highest self is not about reaching some pedestal of perfection. It's about discovering who you truly are when everything else is stripped away. It's about realizing that your worth was never tied to your success, your possessions, or your appearance. Your worth was always rooted as a fact that you are a living soul, loved beyond measure, capable of rising again and again, no matter how many times you've fallen. I began to walk differently, not because life suddenly became easy, but because I knew that even when life broke me down, I could rise again. I knew that valleys were not voids, they were classrooms. And every tear, every ache, every sleepless night was a teacher guiding me toward wisdom I couldn't have found any other way. There were moments when I wanted to turn back, moments when the doorway seemed too narrow, too frightening. But each time I reminded myself, this is not punishment. This is a preparation. My lowest point was preparing me to carry light, to carry faith, to carry love in ways I never could have if I had stayed comfortable at the surface. And here's the most miraculous part. The more I leaned into that doorway, the more I discovered that I wasn't walking alone. God had been there the whole time, not condemning me for falling, but waiting patiently for me to see that He was the strength I needed. Every time I thought I couldn't take another step, grace carried me. Every time I thought I had lost my way, mercy lit a candle just bright enough to guide me forward. Now, when I look back, I no longer see the lowest point as failure. I see it as the threshold where I met my truest self. I see it as the moment when the shell cracked so the seed could grow. I see it as the place where I stopped pretending and started becoming. I share this because I know someone listening is standing in their own lowest point right now. You'll feel like everything has been stripped away, like the night will never end. But I need you to hear me. This moment is not your tomb. It is your womb. Something is being born in you. Something greater, deeper, higher. Don't be afraid of the doorway. Yes, it feels narrow. Yes, it feels dark. But what waits on the other side is the version of you that has been hidden beneath the weight of fear, shame, and sorrow. Your highest self is not an ideal out there in the distance. It's the treasure buried beneath your own brokenness. And when you rise, and you will rise not just for yourself, but for others. Because your story of falling and rising will become a lantern for someone else lost in the dark. Your scars will become signposts of survival. Your voice will carry the echo of hope that someone else desperately needs to hear. That is the beauty of the journey. Our lowest points don't just transform us, they ripple outward and transform the world around us. So if you are listening to this, standing at the edge of despair, let me tell you plainly, your story is not over. This valley is not forever. This lowest point, as unbearable as it feels, is the doorway to your highest self. Step through it. Trust that grace will meet you there. And when you look back one day, you will see what I see, that the place you thought would break you became the place that remade you. because your lowest point is not the end. It is the beginning of becoming. Thank you for listening to The Soul Shed. Until next time, take care of your light. And when it feels dim, come back. We'll be here, because the soul remembers what the mind forgets.